Hello there, everyone. My name is Crazy Caleb, and welcome to Alcoholism, also known as Spelling Buzzed. So this is the way the module looks. We have a little hexagon here with a series of different letters, and a little percentage up here at the top that represents BAC, or binary alcohol corruption. And what we're going to do is we're going to essentially spell a series of words, and it's going to be 3 stages long, and we need to essentially sort of shift each of the letters around in a specific way. Now, obviously, as you can tell by these 3 lights over here, there are 3 stages to this module, and there are many possible valid words. Let's go over some of the rules here. So, a word is valid if all of the following are true. It is a common English word that is not vulgar, so like, for example, fuck or shit, or something like that. It is between 4 and 8 letters long and inclusively, so between 4 and 8. It contains the shifted center key letter, which is a very important part of this module, and it has not been submitted in a prior stage, so we cannot have any duplicate words, essentially. And what we're going to do is we're going to essentially go through each of these buttons here. Now, one important thing to note is that you can have duplicate letters in the word. For example, you could have, for example, if you were to put, like, if this letter was if this happened to be a vowel, for example, you could have 2 O's. This could perhaps not be an O, for example, and so on and so forth. I'll get into the example a little bit later on. So, what exactly is our goal going to be? So the first thing we want to do is pretty much read to our expert what the BAC at the top is, and read each of these letters out, because these are the letters that are going to be shifted here. Turn the volume up a little bit. And the top right, this little circle button is our submit button, and this little square button is our reset button. If we happen to type in some letters here, okay, we can simply reset it back to the screen here. So, let's get into the module. So we're going to go through a couple of rules here, and it is important to note that BAC value refers to the BAC percentage, which is displayed on the module. The BAC value is simply multiplied by 1,000, or simply you're going to shift these three values, these three in the decimal percentage right here. You're going to essentially shift those out into the normal bit. So if this, for example, this BAC value right here would be 20, and to prove that, let's pop out our handy dandy calculator. So we're going to be multiplying 1,000 by 0.02 will give us 20, just like that. So that's the way how this module works, and that's the way that the BAC value is referred to. So keep that in mind. There is some terminology that we need to pay attention to. So first, we need to figure out our shift amount, and then we need to figure out our shift direction in this little alphabetical dial here. We're going to find the letter that is present on the module here, and we're going to essentially shift the letters present. Some can be vowels, some can be consonants. We're going to shift letters clockwise or counterclockwise in this specific direction, and each of these letters only appears once. So let's figure this out. If the BAC percentage is less than 0.02, and there is a lit indicator with a label CLR, or an unlit indicator with label TRN, however, it is exactly 0.02. We do not have, it's not less than 0.02, so it's not true. Next up, if the BAC percentage is less than 0.05, this is true, and the drunk score. Now, what exactly is the drunk score? So we have a couple little things that we need to pay attention to here. The drunk score is the number of letters in drunk that are printed on the letter keys, not in the serial number, but on the actual keys of the module here. So how many in drunk do we have on the actual keys? And we can actually note this down because the letters for each stage do not change, but the shift amounts can potentially change. So we have for the drunk one, and for the sober one, the sober is the exact same thing. It's just the word sober is now used. So for drunk, we have a delta right here. We don't have a Romeo, we don't have a uniform, we don't have a November, but we do have a kilo too. So we have D and K. So that drunk score is going to be 2. Now for sober, we need to look for Sierra, Oscar's present, Bravo, Echo, and Romeo. The sober score is only going to be 1. So that's what the difference is. So this rule is the percentage is less than 0.05, which is true, and the drunk score is greater than or equal to the sober score, which is indeed true as well. Then we're going to shift the amount. The shift amount is the BAC value modulo 3. Now, what exactly does this one mean? To compute the BAC value modulo n, subtract n from value, it's basically just telling you how modulo works. So for modulo, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, we would simply multiply this by 1,000, so we get the BAC percentage we're going to get the value of it, the BAC value, which we said was 20. And then what we're going to do is we're going to modulo 3. Modulo 3, of course, means you subtract the value that you're modulating from until it is less than the value that you're modulating from. So let's do that. So modulo 3 is going to give us 2. Now, until it is at least 0 and less than n. That's the way that it works. Yep. So we get a value of 2. So we're going to be shifting 2. But which direction, we don't know yet. So let's figure that out. So next up, if the module is not in the third stage and the last digit of the BAC percentage is even, which is indeed true, because the last digit of the BAC percentage is even, which is a 0. So that is true. And the shift direction is going to be clockwise. So we're going to shift twice clockwise for each letter. So let's go over to the alphabet dial here, and let's shift each letter clockwise. And I'm going to write down the shifts that we get here. So we have kilo. Kilo, we find this on the little dial here. So we're going to shift 2 clockwise, 1, 2 to Foxtrot. Alpha. Alpha is going to be shifting 2, 1, 2 clockwise to Echo. Next up, Lima. Lima is going to be shifting 2 clockwise to Tango. Oscar. Now, one of the things that you'll know is that with each of the vowels, with the center one, it's always going to be a vowel. So we immediately know that this will be shifting from a vowel to another vowel. There will be always a guaranteed vowel present in the actual word. So this is why this is important, because this actually needs to contain the shifted center key right here. This actually is kind of what makes it a little bit tricky to find some words, but as long as you have this center key here, you should be good to go. So we're going to shift Oscar twice to Alpha, right over here. Delta to Charlie. Charlie to Mike. And lastly, Tango over to a November. So now that we have all of our shifted words, let's make sure that we can spell a common English word that is not vulgar. It is between 4 and 8 letters long. It uses the shifted letter, and it has not been submitted on prior stages. Since this is our first stage, anything is fair game, pretty much. So one of the words that I'm already seeing immediately is face. We can use F, A, C, and E. It's 4 letters long. It's not vulgar. It does contain a shifted letter word in the middle, and it has not been submitted on a prior stage. So we can use face. Now, we, of course, press the positions of which the face is actually spelled in. Of course, it will be some random gibberish at the top here. So we have F in the top left, Alpha in the middle, Charlie in the middle right, and then Echo in the top right. We have coda, which is not really a word, and we are going to hit the submit button. And just like that, the light comes on. Now we're going to be measuring a new BAC, which it does indeed potentially increase. In most cases, it does increase. I believe actually it is required to increase. But now we have a new BAC, which could potentially mean that we're going to be looking at a new rule. So let's move on. So let's take a look. If the BAC percentage is less than 0.02, nope, not true. If it's less than 0.05 BAC, no, it is not. It is 0.057. It is greater than 0.05 BAC percentage. So we're going to move on to the next rule. If the BAC is less than 0.07, yes, that is true, and the number of batteries is greater than the number of completed stages on this module, let's find out. We only have 1 battery, so it is not greater than it's not greater than the amount of stages we have completed on the module. It's the exact same. It has to be greater than. Otherwise, if the BAC is less than 0.1, that is true, and there is an indicator whose label contains a letter in the word cheers, ironically enough from the Cheers show, let's find out. Cheers, I-N-D, nope, that is not true. And then otherwise, we're down to the last rule. The shift amount in the BAC value will be modulo 7 plus 1. So let's do that. So it's likely that we're not going to be using this value at all. So let's figure it out. So we're going to be using the BAC value. So we're going to use 0.57 rather. 0.057 times this by 1,000 to get our BAC value, our real value. We're going to modulo this guy by 7, so minus 7. Until it's less than 7, and then we're going to add 1. So it is going to be, so we're going to get 1 from the modulo, we're going to add 1 to this, and we're going to get a shift amount of 2. Now, we could potentially be getting the exact same characters from last time. However, we don't know if it's going to be clockwise or counterclockwise, so let's figure that out. If the module is not on the third stage and the last digit of the BAC percentage is even, then the shift direction is clockwise. However, the last digit of the BAC percentage is not even, it is an odd number. 7 is an odd number, so this rule is not true. If the BAC percentage is less than 0.06, that is true, and one of the letters that has the letter O printed out on it, then the shift direction is counterclockwise. However, we do unfortunately have an O present, so this means that we're going to be shifting counterclockwise instead of clockwise. So we're going to be shifting counterclockwise. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use the same letters on the displays here, and now instead of shifting in clockwise, we're going to get rid of these guys, and we're going to shift counterclockwise. Now remember, we submitted face in the last time. However, let's see what we get this time. So Kilo 2 counterclockwise will take us to Golf. Alpha 2 counterclockwise will take us to Oscar. Lima 2 counterclockwise will take us to Romeo. Oscar 2 counter will take us to Uniform. Delta 2 counter will take us to Whiskey. Charlie 2 counter will take us to Delta. Tango 2 counter will take us to Lima, and that'll be it. So let's see what words we could potentially make out of it, but we need to use uniform. Uniform could be a bit of a weird one. So let's see what we can figure out. Now, I already see one of the words that we could potentially be using here. We can use drug. So Delta, Romeo, Uniform, and Golf. That could work right there. It is a 4-letter word, it's not vulgar, and it does contain the shifted letter key, and it has not been submitted in the prior stage. Since all of these are new letters, it would be impossible to submit face. This is why that rule is not going to pop up too often, and it kind of wouldn't, it's kind of pretty obvious that you wouldn't use the same letter from, same word from beforehand. But in this case, we can use drug as our answer, and we can submit that into the module. So we can use bottom left for Delta, middle left for Romeo, dead center for Uniform, and top left for the Golf. Submit that into the module, and just like that, that stage is complete. Now we're going to get one more BAC, which is rather quite large, so let's see what we get this time. So we're going to shift. We need to figure out what we shift. If the BAC percentage is less than 0.02, nope. Less than 0.05, nope. Less than 0.07, no. Less than 0.1, no, it actually is not. So it's going to be simply what we get beforehand, what we got beforehand. In most cases, the way that you have to, there will always be a case where you have to go through the less than 0.02. That'll be sort of your starting point. You can skip through a lot of the rules and a lot of the reading. So long as the BAC is less than that value, then you can look at that rule. That's essentially what you're going to be doing, is figuring out which point you start at, and that's going to be a nice way to help you look at it. All right, so now we're going to do the same thing that we did last time. We're going to shift the BAC value. Remember, the value being multiplied by 1,000, the percentage multiplied by 1,000, so let's do that. So we have 0.120 times this by 1,000. It should be 120, which it is. So we're going to modulo u by 7, so we can subtract 70, and then minus 7. And once again, adding 1. And now we're going to be shifting 2 again, but we don't know exactly which direction we're going to be shifting in. So if the module is not in the third stage, however, it is in the third stage. If the BAC percentage is less than 0.06, that is not true. If the serial number contains the module's current stage number, we're currently on stage 3. Does the serial number have a 3 in it? It does not. If the BAC percentage is less than 0.13, that is true. And there are less than 3 port plates. We have 1, we have 2, we have 3. Unfortunately not. We do not have less than 3 port plates. So, we do not have less than 3 port plates, and then that rule will not apply. Otherwise, the shift direction is clockwise. Now, we actually have had the clockwise case pop up, so we're going to be shifting to clockwise. So I'm actually going to just Control Z to get us back to that to the one that had face in it. So let's shift counterclockwise. And this is the one that we had from beforehand. This was 2 clockwise. We submitted face and drug from beforehand. So now let's see what words we can potentially submit from here. It has to be different, and I think I've already found one that we can actually do. We can do fame right here. Fame, fate perhaps as well. We can do facet. I believe facet is a word, right? Facet is a word, I believe. Yeah, there we go. So there's many options of which you can go to, but I want to simply go down. Let's go do fame, for example. So let's do top left, middle dead center, bottom left, and top right. We'll get Coca. We'll submit this into the module, and just like that is the solved module. Let's go over one more example because this module is a lot of fun to do, but it's not actually played that often, and I think it's a really underrated module. There are some little interesting cases where sometimes it's very difficult to find a word, but understanding that you actually can use duplicate letters. So, for example, if the center perhaps was an echo in this case, we could use feet, for example, F-E-E-T, for example. Of course, that would be a little bit of a weird one. There could have been neat that we could have used, N-E-A-T. There's many options if you happen to get some really good vowels like E and A. But of course, there are some trickier cases like uniform and Oscar. Those can prove to be a little bit trickier vowels to work with. So let's take a look at one more example. And typically what I tend to do is I tend to calculate the drunk and sober scores earlier on because some of the rules, it's only this rule I believe actually cares about it, but I tend to just get them out of the way early on. But remember, it is the printed keys and not the serial number. Keep that in mind. So let's take a look at one final example. So let's see what we have here. So already starting off, if the BAC is less than 0.02, and there is a indicator labeled CLR. Let's find if there's any indicators at all. There is no indicators except this unlit sig. We're looking for an unlit indicator labeled TRN. So this rule is not true because we are less than 0.02 for the BAC percentage, but we don't have any of the indicators present because we need to have them because of that and rule. It's very important that you pay attention to those because those can really screw with you sometimes. So, next rule, if the BAC percentage is less than 0.05, that is also true. And the drunk score, here we go. The drunk score is greater than or equal to the sober score. Let's find out. So drunk score, we don't have Delta, we don't have Romeo, we don't have uniform, we do have November. We do have November, so that is a 1, and we don't have Kilo. And already taking a look, I saw an S and an E for sober. That's going to be 2 points. Sober is already greater than drunk, but we need drunk to be greater than or equal to, so this rule is not true. Dang, already skipping over 2 rules. If the BAC percentage is less than 0.07, that is of course true. And the number of batteries is greater than the number of completed stages. If we have 1 battery, that's good to go. And unfortunately, it is not as well. A lot of these rules tend to not apply, it appears. If the BAC percentage is less than 0.01, we've already figured this out, yes. And there is an indicator with the label who contains a letter in cheers. The only one that we have a indicator of is a SIG, and cheers is actually present. There is a Sierra in cheers, and cheers does have Sierra, so there is indeed an indicator whose label contains a letter in cheers. So our BAC value is going to be modulo 5 plus 2 for our shift amount. So let's pop this out. So 0.014 times u by 1,000 should just be 14 right there. Now we're going to modulo this by 5, mod 5, and then we're going to add 2 to this. So now we're going to be shifting 6. Note that it's not going to be moduloing 5 after this. It's going to be just simply shifting 6. So we're going to shift 6, but the question is in which direction? So next up, if the module is not on the third stage, which is true, and the last digit of the BAC percentage is even, this is true. So we're going to be shifting 6 clockwise. Alrighty. Next up, let's shift each letter. So we have Sierra. Sierra is going to be Romeo. Excuse me, not that. That was only 2. Shifting 6 clockwise. So we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to Tango. Excuse me. Next up, Foxtrot. Foxtrot is going to be shifting 6 clockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to Golf. November is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to Lima. Alpha is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to uniform in the center. Echo is going to be simply you do the whole 5 around and then you do 1 clockwise afterwards. So this is going to be an Oscar. And to prove that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to Echo, 6 to Oscar. Mike is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is Delta. Hotel is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to Charlie. And just like that, we have all of our letters now. So now let's see what we can do. One of the words that I'm already seeing, and it's not a vulgar term, is we can do cult. So C, U, L, and T, cult. That is a good word that we can use. It's 4 letters long. It does use a center letter, and that is what we're looking for. So we're going to use cult. So bottom right, middle middle, middle left, and top left. Hands. Right, so that is the module. And just like that, that's good to go. So next up, let's figure out what we're going to be looking at next. So now it's 0.065. So we've already pretty much gone down to 0.061. This is the exact same rule. We're still less than 0.1, so this is true. We determined that all these other rules were not true because the other edge were conditions. So now we're simply going to just use this rule again. So we're going to simply get 0.065. So that should be just 65.065 times u by 1000. 65 as you would expect. We're going to modulo u by 5, mod 5, and it'll get us all the way down to 0, and then now we're going to add 2. So now we're going to be shifting 2, so this entire grid is going to be completely different from what we had before. However, our direction could be different. If the module is not in the third stage and the last digit of the BAC percentage is even, that is not true anymore. It is now a 5, so what this means is that this is no longer true. 5 is an odd digit, and the last digit of the BAC percentage is no longer even. Next up, if the BAC percentage is less than 0.06, that is not true. It is greater than that at this point. If the serial number contains the module's current stage number, do we have a 2? We do not. We do not currently right now. If the BAC percentage is less than 0.13, that is true. And there are less than 3 port plates. 1, 2. There are less than 3 port plates. So, there are less than 3 port plates, then our shifting direction is going to be counterclockwise. So we're going to shift counterclockwise by 2. So, let's do that. So we're going to shift counterclockwise by 2. So Sierra goes to November. Foxtrot goes to Kilo. Now, as you can see from what I've done before, every single time that you get a new shift, you're not shifting from the previously submitted, previous grid that we had. We're simply just shifting on the module, the stuff that's on the module. The module doesn't change itself. All we're simply doing is shifting each letter that is present on the module, no changes at all, by a specific direction. It's going to reset back to the original grid after each stage, and this is what makes this module a little bit interesting. I like this because it's a little bit easier to keep track of as well, and it's much easier to not get lost. So November 2 counterclockwise is Tango. Alpha 2 counterclockwise is Oscar. Oscar 2, that's going to be Oscar. Echo is going to be 2 counterclockwise to Alpha. That's going to be good. Mike is going to be 2 counterclockwise to Charlie. And Hotel is going to be 2 counterclockwise to a Mike. Alrighty. So now let's see what words we could potentially form here. And one of the words that I can already see is coat. Charlie, Oscar, Alpha, and Tango. We use the middle letter, and we form 4-letter words, not vulgar, and we have not submitted it at all. We submitted cult last stage, so let's submit coat. So bottom left, middle middle, middle right, and middle left. See, it forms gibberish, but essentially, we're good to go. So let's see what we get now. And obviously some of the rules are going to change now because we are now no longer, our BAC percentage is no longer less than 0.1. So it is greater than 0.1, so we're no longer going to be using this rule. The shift amount is now going to be the BAC value modulo 7 plus 1. So this should be just simply 131, and the way that I can prove that is 0.131 times u by 1000, and just like that, it's right there. We're going to modulo u by 7, so mod 70, mod 7 now. That'll give us a 5, and now we're simply going to add 1 to this. So that's going to give us a shifting of 6. Now, of course, it could be counterclockwise or clockwise, so let's figure that out. The BAC percentage is no longer less than 0.13. Unfortunately not. It's literally just right over it. So now the shifting direction is going to be clockwise. Now, I believe if my memory is correct, sorry about that. If my memory is indeed correct, we simply actually just got the exact same grid from the first stage. So let's go back a bit. So remember we did cult and coat. I'm going to copy this right here. It was indeed shifting 6 clockwise, and just to make sure, we had Sierra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to Tango up in the top left, and that is indeed true. So now we're looking at the exact same grid that we had before. So we had Tango, Golf, Lima, Oscar, Lima Uniform Oscar, Delta Charlie, and we spelled Colt from the last stage, so now we write down coat. So now we need to find something else that works for this. So another word that I can already see is going to be loud, Loud. That can be a word that we can potentially use. It's 4 letters long. In most cases, you will be getting 4-letter-long words. That's really the easiest case to go. But sometimes you can, of course, find other words. If you want to be long and creative like that, then by all means, be my guest. But in cases like this, where some of the letters are a little bit awkward, like golf or delta, we happen to find loud as a potential word. So let's submit that into the module. So we can go middle left, middle right, dead center, and bottom left. We get neem, which spells out loud, which is what we're going to be submitting into the module. And just like that is the solved module. As always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to stay crazy, stay cool, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.